or something, right?
The good thing about science is that
But yeah, when science was very wrong by Sciencephile the AI.
it's true whether or not you believe in it. You see, that's the. I'm just saying.
Very good.
That's a brilliant quote, and I will die on a hill defending it. However,
Fair.
as much as I love science, it has had its share of blunders in the process of trying to describe reality.
Oh yeah,
ranging
100%.
From now obviously ridiculous ones like spontaneous generation of animals from nothing, to theories that stood scrutiny for centuries like phlogiston or the alien
Oh, phlogiston. So yeah, that's like phlogiston is like the theory of like flammability. Basically, now we know flammability is caused by like oxygen and some shit. But the leading theory before was that there was this thing called phlogiston, which was just in the air and just like in materials and shit.
Now, if you try and use the info from this.
Oh, and the Martian canals. That one, I think, was because of an optical illusion on the guy's telescope because it was reflecting like the veins in his eyes. That's what I heard.
Video to extrapolate points in order to attack the credibility of modern science. I will appear under your bed at 3 a.m. and give you a peer-reviewed lesson in the thermodynamics of your butt getting kicked.
Oh.
With that in mind, let's look at some ridiculous things that were common
Daddy
knowledge
science
throughout
file.
history. The phlogiston theory.
Oh, he's actually going over
What
these.
happens when you burn something? That something loses mass and produces a neat flame, right?
It's unfortunate that I know all of these things. I'm such a fucking nerd.
In the 17th century, people would agree and believe that anything that burns contains an invisible substance called phlogiston.
Yeah.
When it burns, it escapes into the air. Wood burns because it is rich in phlogiston, and the remaining ash is the wood that lost all of its phlogiston. Meanwhile, metals rust because they slowly leak it into the air. That's a very neat and elegant solution.
I didn't know about
Or
the
so
metals.
the scientists of the time thought, until they measured.
But I guess that
rusty
makes
metal.
sense because it's oxidization. They're all just observing oxygen
And
its
realized
effects
it
on
weighs
things.
more than the original unrusted metal. If rusting was a process of metal leaking phlogiston, it would mean that phlogiston would need to have negative mass, which was too unhinged even for the scientists of the time. The solution came from understanding oxygen and oxidation. Metal rusts because oxygen from air gets bound to the surface and adds the extra mass.
Yep.
Similarly, when you burn wood, the sum of the weight of the ashes plus the weight of the particles evaporated through fumes and the CO2 add up to more than the original mass of the wood. That is, carbon atoms in wood react with oxygen from the air, adding some extra mass. That also explains why things cannot burn when there is no oxygen in the air.
Yeah.
Check and mate phlogiston theory. Oxidation.
I do find that crazy that like something as seemingly elemental. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Like something as elemental as fire is like actually only because of one element, right? Like it only happens because of one. I mean, obviously, other elements can like. Well, I guess burn isn't the right. They can heat up. I don't know.
For the win.
Ever seen the Japanese Spider-Man? He's shooting thugs with a fucking SMG. I have not. Please link that.
Imagine that after a rough battle in the medieval times, you go to the field doctor to help you with a spear that impaled you. After they neatly remove the spear, or sword, or any other weapon that might have wounded you, the doctor says that to heal your wound, you should treat the weapon that caused it, not your injured body.
Wait, what?
The idea came from
I'm not
sympathetic
familiar
magic,
with this.
the belief that once two things interact, they remain invisibly connected.
Oh.
Blood touches blade. Blade and wound are now linked. Act on one, and the other responds. Therefore, they would make an ointment called the powder of sympathy, made up of copper sulfate, human blood, and some other irrelevant alchemical compounds, and then apply that onto the blade. Meanwhile, you're not supposed to do anything to the wound itself. Surprise, surprise, the wound seemed to heal and the pain subsided. Why, you might wonder. Because that's what happens when you don't touch a wound and you're lucky enough to not catch an infection. A part of it must have also been placebo, but it beats whatever medieval surgeons would have done to you, especially since hand washing wasn't a suggestion until a couple centuries later.
Yeah, they had no concept of germ theory. That's another thing. It's just like that's something that we take for granted. You sent it over. Thanks. That's another thing that. So, I used to be on board. You know, when somebody was like, you know, like, oh, if you get sent back in time, right? Everybody's always like, oh, well, yeah, like, what are you actually going to be able to do? It's like, you don't know how to build a computer, you don't know how to source all these materials, like, you don't know how electricity works or whatever. And it's like, I was like, yeah, that's true, but if you can get past the language barrier, just some of the common knowledge, right, is going to set whatever civilization that you that you interact with centuries or millennia ahead of time, like germ theory, or just like the concept, like just them knowing what is possible, right? Because if you told somebody like there's this thing called electricity and you can use it to like do logic, right? And then eventually you'll have like these self-working machines. If you tell somebody that you can do that, then that means that they might allocate, you know, the powers that be might allocate resources into investigating that and developing that. Whereas prior to that, they had no idea that that shit could even happen, right? So just like some of your common knowledge could set civilizations way ahead of time. So I always take issue with that people just like, oh, what are you gonna do? Fun fact, Japanese Spider-Man had a giant robot before the Power Rangers had one. Really? Oh, is that why Penny Parker had one in the Spider-Verse?
Luminiferous ether.
Hell yeah.
All waves need a medium to move through. Sound waves need air. Water waves need water, and stupid ideas need people. It is the 19th century, and we've just discovered that light behaves like a wave as well. Ergo, light waves need something to move through too. That something was called the ether.
Yes.
It was supposedly perfectly transparent, massless, and offering no resistance to planets moving through it. Pretty elegant and logical solution. Until scientists attempted to test it through what is known as the Michelson-Morley experiment. They shoot two waves of light, one across Earth's movement direction and another to the side perpendicular to it. Because Earth moves at a certain speed, the speed of the first wave should have been the speed of light plus the speed of Earth. The second perpendicular wave should have been slower, at only the speed of light. But to everyone's confusion, both waves had the same speed regardless of orientation. No ether wind, no preferred direction, nothing.
Just
Rather
void.
than abandoning the
Speaking
ether
of void.
immediately, physicists tried to save it with increasingly weird fixes. They would claim that objects physically shrink in the direction of motion through the ether and that clocks tick differently depending on that motion. If you remember special relativity, this might ring some bells.
Yeah.
In fact, it should ring all the bells, because it was Einstein's special relativity that put the nails in the ether's coffin. What if light does not need a medium at all, is what he asked. And that's how one of the most important realizations in physics was born. No preferred frame of reference exists, and the speed of light is fixed, and because light speed cannot stretch and squeeze, everything around it must, from time intervals to physical distances.
Yeah, that shit's insane.
No need for an imaginary ether medium, just a very elegant and clean solution. And thanks to special relativity, we could
until you
invent
get to quantum
GPS,
physics, then
particle
what?
accelerators, and even radiation therapy. But physics wasn't the only field haunted by invisible substances.
Oh yeah.
Spontaneous life generation. For over 2 millennia,
Yeah, just maggots showing up. Like where the fuck did they come from?
people believed that some forms of life would spontaneously generate from non-living matter under the right circumstances.
Like I'm pretty sure the English, wasn't it famous that the English thought geese were like born from trees, and that's why they only showed up one, like during one time of year, whereas, they actually migrated to North America. But they had no idea. They were just like, they're gone. Like nobody else, they're like nowhere else in the world. And so they thought that they were just born from like
Aristotle
eggs
argued
from
that
trees.
different types of seashells are created depending on the nature of the seabed.
Because they would never see them like nest, right?
Slimy seabed gave
It's
rise
6
to
a.m. for
oysters,
you? Holy
sand
shit.
to scallops, and rocks to barnacles.
Oh god,
It
barnacles.
was equally common knowledge that rotting meat would give life to maggots out of nowhere.
Yep.
Ask any medieval peasant where mice come from and they will point to their wheat grain storage.
Ah.
It's not that mice would wander into granaries, it's that grains themselves would occasionally transform into mice. If that sounds ridiculous,
That's
just
awesome.
remember what you thought of snails as a kid that would pop out of nowhere after rain. These were not some superstitious beliefs by the uneducated.
Snails. Well, there were definitely worms, and I always thought that they just came out of the earth.
Peasantry. It was the scientifically accepted explanation for the origin of many species.
Yeah, I think that this is what I was talking about. Maybe, I don't know. This is in French.
But the theory started cracking in the 17th century following Francesco Redi's experiment of putting meat in a jar and covering it. Big surprise, no maggots.
Joel, he's a fish.
It was the flies laying larvae that was causing it. Finally, in the 19th century, Louis Pasteur disproved the entire ordeal using a swan neck flask. He poured some broth in it, and while air could enter, dust and microbes got trapped in the bend, resulting in broth staying sterile for long periods. He then noted that microbes come from pre-existing microbes carried on particles, not from the broth spontaneously forming life.
Wow, you finally you won.
Theory
You
would
won.
later result in the acceptance of the
You got
importance of
901
sterilization and the
Danimura
eventual
now.
discovery of antibiotics. But while scientists were finally learning that life does not just appear out of thin air on Earth, some were convinced they could see evidence of an entire civilization on Mars, and it all started because of a mistranslation.
Oh, was it a mistranslation? I thought it was because of
Martian alien canals.
Yeah, hold on. Let's see where this came
In
from.
1877,
I have heard several different stories as to where these came from.
Italian astronomer
The one I like the best and that I thought was correct was that that they were like the veins in his eyes that were being reflected by the telescope.
Giovanni Schiaparelli observed Mars during a close approach,
Giovanni
during which he mapped
Schiaparelli.
its faint linear features and called them canali, which in Italian means channels or grooves.
Yep.
But some people mistook that for the English canals, which implies engineering, and that's how the entire hysteria kicked off.
Oh, well, that's not even what I'm talking about.
Suddenly, Mars showed proof of an advanced civilization performing planet-wide engineering manipulation. The Lowell Observatory was as a result.
It is crazy to think about how, like, 100 years ago, like, people genuinely thought that there was life on Mars. I mean, people still think that now, but like, people thought that there were like civilizations, right? Like, it wasn't that crazy of a thing because we didn't have like telescopes good enough. Maybe a little bit older than 100. Well, I think it was like the early 20th century is where I'm thinking of, right?
Founded specifically in order to study Mars and its
when was
canals.
all this happening again?
Scientists even came up with dramatic hypotheses. The lines were forming a planet-wide irrigation network that the Martians built in order to save their civilization from dying. Mars being such a dry planet, they would have to transport water around it, and a solution might have been connecting the network to the ice caps which seasonally melt. Percival Lowell, who funded the observatory, even claimed to have noticed the canals widening because of vegetation that bloomed along them. But then we got better telescopes, and in 1965 the Mariner 4 flew by past
1965
Mars and showed no canals.
So it was until 1965 that this shit got disproved.
No aliens, no vegetation, just a barren wasteland. The entire canals deal turned out to be scientific hysteria and a truckload of wishful thinking, with a little bit of pareidolia involved. That is, seeing meaningful patterns in noise. Back then the telescopes were tiny, the Earth's atmosphere made things blurry, and when the topic is aliens, everyone wants to believe. I mean, even now you have plenty of people who think Martian rocks are mummified aliens or buildings. Gotta thank evolution for human pattern recognition. At least we got War of the Worlds as a direct result of this.
I didn't even talk about where they thought the canals came from. God damn it.
Phrenology.
Oh yeah.
Wouldn't it be great if you could look at someone's skull and figure if they're horny or evil? That's essentially what the prominent phrenologists claim to be able to do back in the early 19th century. It started with Franz Joseph Gall arguing that the mind has many distinct faculties, and that these are localized in different brain areas. As we know now thanks to neuroscience, that's correct, although the mapping is very different from that of phrenologists.
Yeah.
However, Gall made one huge assumption and claimed that the bumps in people's skulls are a result of bigger brain regions pushing against the skull. That way, if you have a larger forehead, you're likely kind and compassionate, or if it's small, you're selfish. The region above your ears will predict how aggressive you are, and a bumpy back of your skull would expose you as being easily sexually aroused.
Do I have a small
As you
forehead?
can imagine,
I don't know.
this theory was loved by those that needed a
Get out
scientific
of the
reason
way
to push
here.
racial segregation beliefs about personality differences between races.
Yeah.
But then comes Marie Jean-Pierre Flourens and performs surgery on animals, removing parts of their brain, and lo and behold, the animals didn't suddenly become people.
My sleep-deprived brain just pulled up a crazy memory. Did you know that Germany has a rapper that dresses up like a gangster SpongeBob and Patrick and raps about drugs? That's since
Peaceful or calm.
2013. What?
Function. Brain
What the
functions
fuck?
were much more distributed than phrenology claimed.
I was
As we now
unaware
know, that map was
of
entirely
such a
wrong.
rapper.
As time went by and blinded control experiments showed no predictive power at all, scientific credibility for it fell, in favor of neuroscience, with the Edinburgh Phrenological Society recording its last meeting in 1870. And yet you'll probably still find phrenology groups online, not that surprising given the prevalence of flat earth societies.
Yeah.
The funny thing about looking back at all these wrong theories, nobody was dumb, it is our world that is very counterintuitive. Take the concept of exponentials. If you invested $100 each month starting in your 20s, you'd likely retire a millionaire, thanks to the power of exponential compounding interest.
Yeah, but the funny thing is that once we get to there, being a millionaire probably isn't going to be that much.
But the human intuition faceplants when
think about the inflation. If I'm in my 20s now, think of the inflation in like 40 years. Yeah, that's
graph arrow takes a sharp turn upwards. It simply hasn't evolved to fight exponential predators in nature. That's why the best upgrade you can give your brain is critical thinking, with the tools to back it up. Exactly what brilliant is about.
Oh, it's
Excel in
brilliant.
Math.
Everybody go
science.
Go buy the brilliant.org/sciencefile. Everybody be sure to like, subscribe, comment. You know, go do that with Sciencephile. We love Sciencephile here. We love them. We want to give that AI brain a little kiss. Mwah.